Every day, hundreds of thousands of patrolmen report for duty, armed with a badge and the latest in video technology. You are about to witness their never-before-seen footage, their stories caught on tape. Now on Disorderly Conduct, hardcore hits, spine-chilling spin-outs. Plus, you never know who you'll run into at the mall or along the road. Drop what you're doing. Disorderly Conduct is on the air. Ferndale, Michigan. Someone stole a motorcycle tonight, and this biker fits the thief's description to a T. At first, it looks like the suspect is going to stop, but then he has second thoughts. He wears a helmet that looks like it's right out of a German war flick as he races through this Detroit suburb. Thanks to the late hour, traffic is light, but that doesn't mean innocent lives aren't in danger. Watch him tempt fate as he runs this red light. Down the street, there's a near collision when the biker hits his brakes. A few blocks away, there's another close call as the pursuit passes a pickup. Next, things get really up close and personal when the suspect is bumped. Not once, but twice. Then, it looks like the suspect is waving for the cop to back off. But when the officer appears to slow down, the biker speeds up. Now watch what happens when the cop closes in for one last time. The Harley rider hits the brakes hard, then takes a heavy hit. He goes sailing onto the street, then takes off on foot.
He's running.
The stunned officer decides his best bet is to chase him with the cruiser. The suspect runs just to the right of the car, and seconds later, you can see him in the headlights. The man finally decides he's out of options. His decision, no doubt, is influenced by a large fence and a pointed pistol.
Get on the ground! Don't move! Don't move!
The 30-year-old is captured and cuffed. He's charged with armed robbery as well as fleeing and eluding. As for the Harley, fortunately, it's also taken into custody without further incident. Winter driving in Nebraska is definitely not for the faint-hearted. Case in point, today on icy Interstate 80 outside the city of North Platte. A cruiser blocks traffic in the passing lane since a crashed truck is partially across the road up ahead. The trooper is outside his car directing traffic when this happens. On the other side of the road, a pickup truck loses control, slides across the median, and slams into a semi. The trooper rushes to help out of camera range. The trucker is okay since the impact was on the passenger side. But what about the driver? He's definitely had better days, but it could have been a lot worse. Although his pickup is heavily damaged, he's not. Sheriffs pursue a suspect running from a domestic dispute in Bonneville County, Idaho. The suspect is in a truck with at least 4 patrol cars on his tail. The deputies have no idea where he's headed, and he's leading them through some pretty lonesome territory. But the long road leads to a dead end at the end of a reservoir. It looks like the end of the road for the suspect too, but he's not done. He backs away from the water and takes off again as cops scramble for their cars and give chase. The patrol car with dash cam rolling runs in reverse trying to block the suspect. He slams head-on into the patrol car and comes to a stop. Now the suspect is boxed in with nowhere to go except out the door. The suspect climbs out, clearly in no mood to surrender. He's going straight for a deputy, and he's holding a large knife, leaving the cops no choice. The suspect takes a bullet to the chest and goes down to the ground. Within seconds, the deputies put away their guns, break out a medical kit, and get to work saving the life of the suspect. He's later airlifted to a hospital for emergency surgery and survives the bullet wound. He was lucky, but he could have made it a lot easier on himself by leaving the knife in the car and putting his hands up. Freeze! Disorderly conduct is on the scene. Can't find parking at the mall? No problem. Drive through it. And it's a freeway demolition derby. All that and lots more mayhem when disorderly conduct returns. Baltimore County, Maryland. It began as a traffic stop for a suspended license. But now it's a pursuit that's about to become extremely dangerous. Check out the upper part of the screen as troopers try to box the driver in. It's a demolition derby as the suspect turns the tables on police when he pulls a pit maneuver. Then plows into his pursuers. With smoke pouring out of his damaged car, the man continues past startled motorists on their way to work. Troopers stop most traffic on one side of the interstate as the chase limps along near the nation's capital. But they can't block every road, and when the suspect takes this exit, innocent drivers will soon be in danger. It's a wild wake-up call for commuters as they start their day with the sound of sirens and the smell of smoke. This second attempt to box him in leads to a side trip along the sidewalk. Seconds later, the vision-impaired driver is forced off the road and into a light pole. For the first time today, he displays common sense and surrenders. He's charged with first-degree assault on a police officer and destruction of property, and now he not only has a suspended license, but he may lose his freedom as well. He's a man who simply can't wait to get into the mall. It's way after closing time in Augusta, Georgia, and most shoppers are home asleep. But the guy in the SUV is taking a private tour of the place, while security cameras watch his every move. You have to wonder exactly what he's looking for as he cruises past the escalators. He won't be getting a burger at the food court, although the lines are pretty short tonight. And so he's pretty much going to leave in the same fashion he arrived, with a bang. After crashing through everything in his path, this suspect has some explaining to do to the police. And he decides to let his fist do the talking. Cops finally get the upper hand with pepper spray and a few whacks with a baton. The suspect gives up and has a seat on the curb. And at last, he gives an explanation for his bizarre late-night mall excursion. He was looking for his wife, believing she was being held prisoner in the place. But his story does not check out. And the suspect was busted for property damage, assaulting officers, and DUI. Which just goes to show, drinking and shopping do not mix. This pickup truck is all over the road in Clearfield, Utah. Sheriffs took up the pursuit after a call about a possibly drunk driver speeding on the freeway. Now they're tailing the suspect at about 90 miles an hour. The driver is having a lot of trouble staying in lanes. And he doesn't seem to be trying too hard to escape. He nearly sideswipes a car and a big rig. But somehow he keeps going. Finally, the suspect exits, and there's a chance to bring this chase to an end.
Speeds are about 50 miles an hour at 10 attention.
It's not an easy maneuver. The ramp is wet with melted snow with a busy intersection just ahead, but the deputy goes for it. He hits it just right. The truck goes out of control, but comes to a safe stop before reaching the intersection. The truck is boxed in, but the driver is pretty slow about stepping out.
Keep your hands where we can see you.
And he almost seems to be sleepwalking.
High in the air. Slowly walk back towards the center of my face.
Cops have a few questions for the suspect, but the answer soon becomes clear. And the man is not arrested. He led cops on a dangerous high-speed chase and got himself bumped off the road. But this suspect is not drunk or on drugs. He's in diabetic shock. That's disorderly for sure, but it's not against the law, even if the law has to stop you any way it can. Watch out, disorderly conduct is behind the wheel. What happens when you get a flat at 100 miles an hour? This. And in the act of fleeing, his sneakers go flying. Keep your shoes on. Disorderly conduct is running wild. It's a high-speed pursuit through the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains. Troopers are after a young man suspected of passing counterfeit bills at a Cambridge, Ohio store. There's nothing fake about the danger involved, as speeds near triple digits along Interstate 70. He passes trucks like they're standing still, and officers know his wheels can handle these speeds for only so long. Eventually, one of his tires blows, and he goes for a spin. The lead trooper rushes to the car, pulls out his gun, and orders the driver out. The man is in no hurry to comply, so it's time to take things up a notch. The roadside rumble goes on for a minute as the driver refuses to let go of the steering wheel. Finally, with the help of reinforcements, the suspect is forced to get up close and personal with the pavement. After being taken to the hospital for drug evaluation, he's charged with eluding arrest and failure to comply. California's Solano State Prison. A security camera zooms in as fighting breaks out in the yard between white and Hispanic inmates. Guards move in and pepper spray the combatants. Some of the inmates hit the dirt, and it looks like things are settling down. But there's still a few scores to settle, and this fight is far from over. 2 inmates help an injured man out of harm's way. He's bleeding from the neck after being stabbed and collapses to the ground. Guards fire tear gas to break up the crowd as the injured man is on his feet again and helped off the field. But on the other side of the yard, more trouble is brewing. Fists fly as the inmates go at it again. They tip over a soccer goal and the fighting rages. Until guards get the upper hand again with pepper spray. And by firing live rounds of ammunition in the air, which seems to get everyone's attention. With things finally under control, guards tend to an injured inmate while the rest lie still on the ground. Out of nearly 90 inmates involved in the riot, 18 were injured and 4 hospitalized, with 2 guards suffering minor cuts and bruises. But the melee did have one positive result. Guards confiscated 20 weapons made by inmates before they could be used again. A suspect in a van flees police after a routine traffic stop in Georgetown, Texas. The driver stops, but only to let a man out of the passenger seat. Then he keeps running. Coming up to a stop sign, the suspect looks ready to bail, but closes the door and is off again. He runs into a cul-de-sac and slips out again before the officer can attempt a pit maneuver. Around the corner, he has his door open again, and this time, he's going for it. The suspect jumps from the moving van and loses his balance. Unable to stop in time, the officer hits him with the side of the patrol car. The suspect's sneakers go flying as the driverless van sideswipes an SUV and rolls into a yard. He's got no shoes and he's been hit by a car, but the suspect is still going to run. And with the officer on his heels, he doesn't get far. No one was seriously hurt in the chase. The suspect was booked for drug possession and evading arrest. And that makes him a shoo-in for a prison cell. You can't run from disorderly conduct. Bystanders, get into the act. And a little lesson in how not to use your one phone call.
I love you. Listen to what I gotta say.
Don't hang up. Disorderly conduct is on the line. In Garland, Texas, Officer James Bressick makes a routine traffic stop and questions the driver in his cruiser.
But you said you never been in that jail before. I don't know, but that's still cares.
The officer's dash cam rolls on the suspect's car, which still has 2 passengers waiting inside. At least there were 2 passengers a minute ago. Off camera, the officer chases after the young man who came out of the driver's side. But then the driver circles back and gets in the car again, with the law on his heels. The suspect has the car running and is trying to flee, but the officer has him by the arm. The officer gets the front door open. They struggle for control of the car, but the suspect gets the upper hand. The car lurches forward, dragging the officer and sideswiping a parked car. But it doesn't end there. As bystanders try to help, the suspect throws the car into reverse, knocking one man flat. Watch it again and keep your eye on the man in the white shirt. It's his lucky day. With a little help from the man next to him, he escapes serious injury. But he's right back on his feet again, trying to help. Off camera, the car hits a parked truck. The suspect gets free and runs off on foot. Officer Bresic gets some assistance from a bystander off camera. The suspect was later caught and charged with aggravated assault, evading arrest, and for stealing this car. In Vermillion, Ohio, police detain a drunk driving suspect while they do a background check.
Okay. You all right?
Yeah.
All right. Man, you got all kinds of warrants.
It's bad.
You got 2 from Huron County. You got 6 from Willard for DUIs.
Real bad.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11,
No, I ain't on 11 DUI.
12. No, these are suspensions. 13, 14,
And so on.
15, 16, 17, 18,
I ain't on
19. You have 19 open suspensions. That means you've got 19 different suspensions on your license.
whatever, man. Can I use your phone? So I can call my wife.
The news doesn't go down well.
You are now under arrest for operating a vehicle under the influence of alcohol, a drug, or a combination
Read
thereof.
that down the road there.
The suspect threatens to flip the desk with his foot.
I'll mule kick the shit. I'm serious. You get him away from me now.
Finally, the officers give him a phone to calm him down.
Here you go, Jim. Calm down.
Serious.
Take a deep breath and calm
That's
down.
whole
Calm down.
Listen, I love you. You have a good life. Now listen to what I gotta say. Oh, you did.
The suspect puts the phone on the floor and bashes the desk with his foot.
It's on you. Shoot me. Get rid of this.
Within seconds, he's looking down the barrels of at least 3 taser guns.
Sit down or you get tased. Sit down or
I
you
gotta
get
get rid of
tased.
this.
Sit down or you get tased.
But he's not going to get tased. He's going to get pepper sprayed.
Okay. Whole ass. I ain't done.
Don't wipe it. That's the worst thing you can do. Better look up at the light.
A medical team flushes his eyes with water.
Don't open your eyes.
Put me in the car, get me out of here right now. I'm gonna flip.
Well, nobody wants him to flip again. So he's going to have plenty of company on his way to the slammer. The suspect was charged with felony DUI and 8 outstanding warrants.
Whatever, man. Can I use your phone?
And he'll be kicking it behind bars for a while. And nowhere else.
Listen, I love you. You have a good life. Now listen to what I gotta say. Oh, you did. It's on you. Shoot me. Get rid of this.
Okay, SO1 has him. Northbound 301.
A police chopper in Brandon, Florida joins the pursuit of a burglary suspect driving a Toyota pickup. An officer responding to the late-night break-in at a bagel shop was nearly run over by the fleeing truck.
Okay, he's going to be going westbound on I-4.
The chopper camera switches to its nighttime FLIR mode. And the pickup heads back to city streets. Ground units are also hot on his tail.
He's making a U-turn. He's going to be coming back.
He pulls out all the stops trying to evade police.
Okay, he went through the median. He's going to be coming back eastbound.
When he gets caught in traffic coming off the freeway, he makes his own exit lane. A caravan of cruisers is close behind as the truck speeds down the street and blows a tire. Sparks shoot out from the rim as the metal grinds against the roadway. Officers then get an urgent warning. There are spike strips straight ahead. More sparks fly as the hobbled pickup gets harder and harder to control. The suspect decides to ditch the truck and turns into a parking lot.
Okay, he's going to the back of the business right here. He just crashed. He's bailing out.
The ground units arrive. And we can see the suspect running at the top of the screen.
Westbound, he's still running westbound behind the alley.
An officer jumps from his cruiser and takes off after him. The pursuit quickly ends when one of the officers draws his taser and brings down the suspected bagel bandit.
Good job, guys.
Police charge him with aggravated assault against a police officer, burglary, and aggravated fleeing. Day or night, nothing gets past disorderly conduct. He's smart enough to get in, but using his head won't get him out. And kids in a crosswalk are in the crosshairs. It's disorderly conduct any way you steer it. Wolforth, Texas. A deputy spots a murder suspect in this bank parking lot. The officer was tipped off when the driver tried to cash a check belonging to the victim. When the emergency lights are flipped on, the driver hangs out the window and seems to be signaling.
Stand by, please.
The situation becomes even more precarious when the man can't seem to decide whether or not he's going to stop for the cop. When he finally puts it in park, the deputy decides it's time for a little one-on-one with this guy.
Excuse me? Sir, I'm Officer Austin with Wolford Police Department. Can you show me your other hand? Put your other hand up on the steering wheel. Thank you. You mind stepping out? Go!
The driver suddenly whips out a revolver, then fires as the trooper runs for cover. The uninjured officer jumps back in his cruiser and takes chase. The suspect has a healthy head start through this area about 11 miles outside of Lubbock. Just as the deputy catches up, the driver hangs a sharp right and cuts across a front yard. The officer follows the man and watches him screech to a stop in front of a mobile home. Out of camera view, the suspect leaves his car and barges into the home.
He's made it inside the residence. We may have a possible hostage situation.
The deputy takes out his rifle and waits for backup. While the officer stands guard, he's approached by an elderly woman who escaped from the house.
That man ran in the house
Do you know that man?
No, he went through the house. I told him.
Went through the house?
Yeah, I told him I didn't have a key for my car.
Okay.
While this is going on, the man steals a pickup truck belonging to the woman's grandson. The suspect drives by.
There he goes.
The officer stays to make sure everyone is okay as other units pick up the pursuit on Highway 62. The truck is full of gas, but at least it isn't full of hostages. A dangerous situation is made even worse when the guy drives like a madman.
Coming around the back of the bank on a one-way. We're back in the bank. Okay, we're gonna be westbound 6280.
And once on the open road, he quickly hits triple digits.
In excess of 100 miles an hour.
The lead deputy does his best to keep up with the suspect, but other drivers don't exactly make it easier.
Get out of my way!
The suspect is able to get away for now, but his freedom is short-lived. He's captured at a motel a couple of days later and taken off the road for good. After being booked for a slew of charges, including murder, assault, and robbery, he's sentenced to life in prison. A brick crashes through the glass door of this Pennsylvania pizzeria. That's followed by a hooded figure who makes a dash for, of all things, the tip jar. After making a mess, the clumsy crook grabs a few bucks and makes a not-so-graceful exit. Now let's review. The suspect risks prison and takes a hard hit to the head for less than $30 in tips. And to add insult to injury, half of that cash is dropped on the way out. A news chopper follows a suspect as he hits speeds up to 100 miles an hour in Los Angeles. The suspect fled after colliding with a sheriff's patrol car. Now, cops have blocked off the chase as police choppers track his every move. The suspect looks for a place to hide, but he's not having much luck. One U-turn after another and running stop signs at will. There's still no escaping the eye in the sky as the chopper alerts units on the ground. The suspect pushes his luck, running a light at a busy intersection. There's another one coming up. Only this time, the suspect is headed straight at a group of children in the crosswalk. The suspect brakes hard and turns the wheel. The car goes into a spin through the intersection. Narrowly missing the kids in the crosswalk as they run out of the way and almost hitting another car. Half a second earlier, and this chase could easily have ended in tragedy. As it is, the suspect has had enough risk-taking for today. Sheriffs ram the car onto the sidewalk and come out with guns drawn. After putting himself and everyone on the road in maximum danger, the suspect finally gives up without a fight. He's cuffed and charged with assault and felony evading. And a lot of other people are thankful they were just a few steps ahead of this lunatic behind the wheel. There's more disorderly conduct coming at ya. This guy gets tased. This guy gets sprayed. And this guy, well, you'll have to see it to believe it. It's all next on Disorderly Conduct. It's a late-night pursuit on the outskirts of Pontiac, Michigan. Deputies quickly decide to spike the speeding suspect. The sticks seem to put a brake on the action.
I put it out. They got him with the stop sticks. We're going 40. We're slowing them down.
But the driver is determined to elude capture. Finally, the spikes show their effect.
Radio, he just lost his tire.
Now he's not only rolling the dice by riding on rims, but he also gambles by taking this closed off-ramp. Soon, the odds are really against him when he blows another tire.
Radio, he lost his other front tire.
And once the rubber falls off the rims, it isn't long before sparks light up the night. The driver makes the mistake of not stopping, and it isn't long before he pays the price. With his two front tires completely gone, the man misses this turn and leaves the road.
Radio, he just lost it, and he's in the ditch.
With guns drawn, officers head down into the ditch where the lead cop kicks out his window. But apparently, the suspect needs more convincing, so it's time for the taser. It took two spiked tires, a crash, and a taser to finally bring the man into custody. He's taken up the hill and off to jail, where police say he's booked for fleeing and eluding, as well as operating a vehicle while intoxicated. Macon, Georgia. An officer pulls up behind a man he spotted weaving through midday traffic. Apparently, the driver decides he doesn't like being followed. Now the chase is on through downtown Macon. After a couple of blocks, the Ford Fiesta rolls to a stop at this light.
Stop.
It looks like this is over. But looks can be deceiving.
Get out of the car. Get out of the car.
This calls for backup.
1081 Control, I'm gonna need some assistance here. He stopped and just drove off again. I don't know what's wrong with him.
One thing for sure, the officer has no problem keeping up.
He ain't going at about 20 miles an hour.
It isn't long before a traffic jam brings the slow-speed pursuit to a standstill. The officer grabs his pepper spray and moves in for an arrest.
Get out of the car. Get out of the car. Get on the ground. 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 Get on the ground.
The suspect takes a direct shot of spray, but it hardly seems to faze him. As he backs away, another cop gets ready to add more pepper to the mix.
Get on the ground. Get on the ground. Get on the ground. Get on the ground. Get on the ground.
Seconds later, a double dose brings a stinging conclusion to the chase.
Get on the ground. Get down on the ground.
After being the recipient of 2 full cans of pepper spray, the man is cuffed and led away.
How about that?
And to add more salt to his wounds, he reportedly faces charges of eluding police and resisting arrest.
Get on the ground. Get up, stupid. Get down on the ground. Now, how about that?
When you're a cop on patrol, you never know what you're going to find on the side of the road. Like this Texas state trooper. He found a man wrestling an emu, and he has a few questions.
Now, what are you trying to do?
It may not be a crime, but it's definitely disorderly.
Yeah. Yeah.
An emu is a big feathery bird from Australia, but ranchers in Texas have started raising them for profit.
And all they do with these, they just turn them loose.
Yeah.
You can't afford to feed them.
So what do you do with a homeless emu? Simple. You take him home, which is what this man and woman are trying to do.
I'm gonna take it.
Oh, okay.
Come on, big guy, settle down.
Oh yeah, Emus can really kick.
You can tie the leg, whatever you want to do.
They're really good at wrestling.
Come on, guys.
And they can be downright scary. Now that's one Texas-sized bird, but this is one determined man. Before the bird can get his wits about him, the man executes a flying tackle from behind, rolls and pins the bird.
What in their cup?
Yeah, they are. I think you may be better off running wild. Woo.
He gets him tied.
You got over count this time, bird.
But the emu has scored some big points in this match. The guy's pant leg is ripped up to the waist, and he's lost a boot.
You gonna raise him or eat him?
Take care of my
And it's onto the truck as more backup arrives to take in the show.
You didn't want a prisoner like that.
Think you lost a pair of pants out of the deal, though.
These troopers put their lives on the line every day, but in these parts, when you see a man duking it out with an emu, well, you just let him be.
I couldn't have helped you. Sarge would have been filling out a workman's comp claim on me.
Sunday.